What is Silk Route? The Silk Route points to the important westbound China silk cargoes along this route. Historians have identified several silk routes over land and by sea, knitting together vast regions of Asia and linking Asia with Europe and North America. What do you understand by Corn Law? Under pressure from landed groups, the British government restricted the import of corn. The law allowing the government to do this were commonly known as Corn Law. Why did Bertrand Wood refer? What does Bertrand Wood refer? Bertrand Wood is the name of the hotel in USA where the National Monetary and Financial Conference held in 1944 to ensure the stable economy. What is meant by horse trindle and the annual Muharram procession was transformed into a riotous carnival called horse for Immense Hussain, in which workers of all race and religion joined in. Explain G77 in brief. So, G77 was a group organized by developing countries to demand a new international economical order (NEIO) which would give these countries real control over their national resource raw material, manufactured goods and their markets. What is tariff? Tax imposed on a country's import from the rest of the world is tariff. Define exchange rate. They link national currencies for purpose of international trade. There are broadly two kind of exchange rate: fixed rate exchange rate and floating exchange rate. Give two examples of different type of global exchange which took place before the 17th century, choosing one example from Asia and one from the America. Example of different type of global exchange which took place before the 17th century were first. Textile species and Chinese pottery were exchanged by China, India and South Asia in return for gold and silver from Europe. Gold and foods such as potatoes, soya, groundnut, tomatoes and chilies were first exported from America to Europe. How the global transfer of disease in the pre-modern world helped in the colonization of America. So the global transfer of disease in the pre-modern world helped in the colonization of the America because the Native American Indian were not immune to the disease that the settlers and colonizers brought with them. The Europe were more or less immune to smallpox, but the Native American, having been cut off from the rest of the world for millions of years, had no defense against it. These germs killed and wiped out whole community. Give two examples from history to show the impact of technology on food availability. The impact of technology on food availability was manifold in the last 19th century. Faster railway, lighter wagon and large ship helped transport food from more cheap and quickly from production unit to every far away market. Also refrigerator ship helped transport pre-shaped foods such as meat, butter and egg. What is meant by Bretton Woods Agreement? The Bretton Woods Agreement was finalized in July 1944 at Bretton Woods in New Hampshire, US. It established the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank to preserve global economic stable and full employment in the industrial world. These institutions also deal with the external surplus and deficits of member national and financed post-war reconstruction. Imagine that you are an injured Indian labor in the Caribbean. Draw from the detail in this chapter. Write a letter to your family describing your life and feeling. Endured Indian labor in the Caribbean. Factor signed a contract starting that they would return to India after working for 5 years at plantation belong to eastern Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, central India, and dry district of Tamil Nadu. Migrants took up the overseas jobs hoping to escape poverty and oppression in their home villages. Migrants were not even informed how long the sea voyagers and some unwilling ones were abducted as well as known as the new system of slavery, harsh living and working conditions, few legal rights, many escaped into the wild, some developed new art from the expansion, some returned home and after the contract period with others stayed on. Explain the three types of movement or flows within the international economic exchange. Find one example of each type of flow which involved India and Indians and write a short account of it. The three types of involvement of flow within the international economic exchange are trade flow, human capital flow, and capital flow or investment. These can be explained as the trade in agriculture products, migration of labor, and financial loan to and from other nations. India was a hub of trade in the pre-modern world and it exported textile and spices in return for gold and silver from Europe. Many different foods such as potatoes, soyas, groundnut maize, tomatoes, chilies, and sweet potatoes came to India from the America after Columbus discovered it. In the field of labor, indentured labor was provided for nine mines, plantations, and factories abroad in huge number. In the 19th century, this was an instrument of colonial domination by the British. Lastly, British took generous loans from USA to finance the World War. Since India was an English colony, the impact of this loan debt was falling in India too. The British government increased tax, interest rate and lowered the price of products it brought from the colony. Explain the cause of Great Depression. Explain what is referred to as the G77 country. In what way can G77 be seen as a reaction to the active of the Bretton Woods twins? G77 countries is an abbreviation for the group of 77 countries that determined a new international economic order, a system that would give them real control over their natural resources with being victim of neocolonialism. This is a new form of colonialism in trade practiced by the former colonial powers.